Hello, YouTube family. Hope everybody's doing well today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening, tonight, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And today, I wanted to pick up where I was trying to touch on last night. I had a storm roll through, it knocked out my power, knocked out my internet, so I wasn't able to finish with the message. But what I want to speak on is the pale horse in the book of Revelation, okay? Now, I'm going to start out with a little bit of praise music because that's what I like to do. And then I'll be back in a second. Hi, Margot. That was Straight from God by Rob Smith. You know, he has his own story, you know, with his own walk, how he came to know the Lord. And I just really love his music. It's really inspirational. But what I was trying to touch on last night was, you know, we've got the media, we've got YouTube, we've got everybody pushing this coronavirus and instilling fear upon all the people. And first and foremost, well, hello, Therian.
Hi, everyone.
First and foremost, I really find the need to express that we know that our adversary, the devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever, however you want to address this being, this is an adversary that is a defeated adversary. And no matter what takes place, we know that our Creator, our Heavenly Father has this all in his hands. And our walk is never to be that of fear. You know, a lot of believers find a strong fear of death, just death in general. They fear death because they don't know what the outcome is going to be. But we know, as divine beings ourselves, created in God's image, when we leave this heaven, when we leave this earthly plane, we're just going to be walking through a door into another existence. You know, when we die, it's not eternal, it's not forever. So we have to remember that. Okay. Now we have over here in Revelation, we've got the hell horseman of pestilence. Now, what I'm wanting to ask everybody is, do you feel that this has been that seal has been broken? Do you feel that this has been initiated? Has it begun? I mean, disease travels in tandem with fear. While the first can lead to the death of thousands, the second can unravel the social fabric, disrupting the precarious balance of relationships, and it's essential for the stability of nations. Okay, I mean, the most recent disease and fear that I remember was Ebola. Okay, and that killed thousands of people. And then before that, we had AIDS. Which killed tens of millions. And even today, it's still decimating the populace. In some countries. And tomorrow it could be another one. An even greater plague to sweep across the lands. Leaving death and destruction in its wake. But in this case, what do you feel about that, there, Ian?
Well, think about it. The amount of fear porn they put out in the mainstream media.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, look at the response this has had, this coronavirus.
Yes.
Face mask sales through the roof.
You can't even purchase.
Like hand sanitizer products, like through the roof in sales.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you think, how many of these viruses are even real?
Well, you think about what Wayne said last night. If you rebuke this stuff and you don't call it upon yourself, you don't vocalize this stuff and claim it, then it has to stay away from you.
Yeah.
First and foremost, you've got to remember that. Don't ever claim anything with your lips, because they are spells. It's all spells being spoken. I mean, that's how this
When I
whole.
look at this, it's like the way I look at most of these virus things, they're like psyops.
Yes.
They're to trick like the masses, like the hypochondriacs.
Well, I see that there, Ian, but they're saying, and there's a nurse in China. She's a reputable lady. She's saying 100,000 people have passed in China, and they're saying 44,000 in Korea, and that was as of yesterday. So I don't think. I mean, I do believe this is fear porn, but I also believe this is real. Okay.
I'm looking at other places where it's like the places where it's like they claim they've got the vaccines.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's like there as well.
Okay, Therian, this is another thing I'm not comprehending. To my knowledge, there is no cure for a virus. It has to work its way through your system. I mean, if it's a flu, is it different than this this coronavirus? Because I was taught that there's not a cure for viruses. I mean, am I wrong?
Yeah. It's like viruses, they have to like be thought completely different.
Okay, so I mean, how do they have an inoculation for this?
It don't make sense. It shows it's like man-made.
Bingo. So what are you thinking about? I mean, they're talking about forced mandatory inoculations on people. Good luck catching me.
Yeah, they try that with me. It's going to be like that. Dr. Zoidberg off Futurama.
There you go.
You just see me running through a field going.
There you go. I'm right behind you. I'm right behind you with my.
In zigzag pattern, so if they start trying to shoot it in dart form, they'll miss.
Right. Well, these seals that they're dramatically depicted by what I'm saying. And they show the effect of false religion, war, famine, plague among the earth's population in the days leading to the return of Jesus Christ. So we know these things have to come to pass, but we also know that we don't have to claim these things for ourselves. Okay. I mean, each one of these seals represents powerful forces, forces that devastate human life on the earth. And the cumulative effect will lead to each, to such conditions that, if Jesus Christ did not intervene and cut short the time of trial, no flesh will be saved. And that's Matthew 24:22 that speaks about that, the no flesh being left alive. So, I mean, we now come to the fourth seal, the fourth horseman, on his ride of death by plague. How will the ride of this horseman affect the nations of the earth? That's what I'm wanting to know. I mean, Revelation 6, 7, and 8 tells us this about the fourth seal. When he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature saying, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with him. So do you think that that's what's happening here, or do you think it's just one more installation of fear? Because I kind of feel like maybe this is taking place. I don't know. I mean, the Exposition's Bible commentary says this about the color of the fourth horse, okay? Pale, okay? Which is chloros. And it denotes a yellowish green, the light green of a plant, or a paleness of a sick person, in contrast to a healthy appearance. And you put bluntly, this horse is the color of death. Hence my beautiful puke green bottom of the script. In Jesus' parallel prophecy in Matthew 24, though, he explained that in the wake of religious deception, war and famine would come, pestilences or disease and epidemics. And that's in Matthew 24, 7. So the seals have a cumulative effect. False religion causes instability within relationships, leading to war. See? And famine follows war. So when malnourishment occurs and social systems break down, human beings are more susceptible to disease. And these seals depict the ferocity of problems unleashed on the world in the lead up to the day of the Lord. And when they're talking about malnourishment, to me, that brings it right on back to good old GMOs and stuff,
Yeah.
Hi, Peanut. Hi, Floyd. I'm glad you joined in, guys. Hi, Brian, the observer. So, I mean, there would be other calamities as well. Okay. Jesus also listed in the same context earthquakes in various places. Matthew 24, 7 talks about this. Plague in scripture, denotes not only pestilence, but also other calamities in nature that God uses to punish a disobedient humanity. So, of course, any such calamities make populations, that much riper for the spread of disease and epidemics. That was my point there. You've got people that are malnourished, all this other stuff going on, and you've got believers being negative, And we can't walk around with negativity in our minds, or in our hearts. We've got to maintain a positive look on this. And we've got to keep our vibration high. Don't walk around hating people. Let that hate go, guys. You've got to let this negativity go. You've got to let it go.
It's like, don't bottle it up. It's like rage. You got to get it out of your system.
Got to let it go. You've got to forgive these people and walk away and let it go. Because that's who we are, and that's what we're intended to be. We're children of light. And you can't walk around in the, being a child of light with darkness in you. Okay? I'm just saying. I mean, the latter part of Revelation 6:8, speaking of all four horsemen, states, And power was given to them over a fourth of the earth to kill with sword and with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth. Now, some of the parts of the Bible refer to mankind as being the beast, but I don't believe this is a reference to beast. I think it has to do with all these diseases that the animals keep getting. Swine. What is it? What is it? Think of some of the ones that we're getting: mad cow disease. What else? We got swine flu that came from pigs, didn't it? When pigs
Yeah,
fly.
then there's like that bird flu thing as well.
There you go. I mean, the chickens. I mean, whatever the Hanto was it? No, I know the Hanto virus was another one that the animals had, and now they're saying that there's an illness that dogs and cats can get that they can pass to humans, and that's never been possible before in the history of mankind that we know of. It's never been possible before for animals to pass, your dogs, your domesticated dogs and cats, to pass the illness on to you. So here we are. And then I saw yesterday where they are making chimeras, which we know that's nothing new, but they were crossing a monkey and a pig together, so they could literally grow human body parts and harvest them for yeah. Yeah, yeah. But they're taking it like and celebrating about it. But I think these little animals only lived for like 4 days and then they died. But they're all claiming victory on this stuff.
Yeah, because they know now it's like what went wrong, so they could do it again and again
Yeah.
till they get it right.
They're literally wanting to grow human body parts on these animals so they can, give people transplants. I recall years and years ago. Remember the poor little mouse that grew a human ear on it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, that's just wrong. And I remember before the Mandela effect, people that had pig hearts. They were using the valves from the pigs and the hearts from the pigs as well.
Yeah.
Hmm. Now, let's talk about the Black Death. Perhaps the most famous plague in history is the Black Death. We all know that. That's what we're taught anyway, okay? We didn't know it until we were taught it, like Wayne says, But that's in the 14th century, and by most to have been bubonic plague is what we're told. Now, the estimates are that more than 20 million people, a third, that's a third, half of Europe's population that died in that outbreak, And like in 1346, the report reached Europe of a devastating disease from China that was affecting many parts of Asia. And the next year, a mysterious disease appeared in Italy, and ships from the Black Sea sailed into, I think it's Messina, with sailors infected with black boils, in their armpits and groins, and it was the bubonic plague. And the disease was so lethal that people were known to go to bed well and die before waking up. Can you imagine that? That there were two types of this plague. The first was internal, causing swelling and internal bleeding, and this was spread by contact. And then the second concentrated in the lungs and spread by coughing airborne germs. And there was no known prevention for the cure. Whole towns were just depopulated and the social structure completely broke down. And then I'd also heard something back in those days that only in a certain part of England where they had like the sweat or something. It was like a fever they would develop, and not that many people made it through. They don't know where it originated or anything. But I mean, they would sweat and shake so bad, and they would have to keep them all clothed. They'd have to put piles and piles of clothes on them, and they would literally put like boards and rocks on top of them to keep them where they didn't pull the covers off of them, because if they felt the air on their bodies, they would die. That's just crazy. I don't think they ever identified that particular disease either. hmm It says here that parents abandoned children, husbands and wives left each other to die. In many cases, no one was around to bury the dead, both from fear of contagion and lack of concern. And one writer of the time tells of observing 5,000 bodies lying dead in a field. That's a lot of people, man. In that age, the Bible was the primary means to measure any natural calamity. And the only way to understand what was happening was to believe the world was coming to an end, and there seemed no hope for the future. So, I mean, here we go again. Do we think the world's coming to an end? Or do we think it's a new beginning? How do we feel about this? You know?
There's lots of things you can look at with like patterns of things,
Uh-huh.
especially if you look at like the elites.
Uh-huh.
They could have been using like these viruses and stuff for thousands of years, controlling population.
Well, yeah, because the elite are falling back on magic or high technology that we don't comprehend, that comes from the fallen angels or aliens or whatever people want to call them. Everybody has their own label for these beings, depending on which community you walk in. But the bubonic plague, that's appeared in more recent times as well. We know. The Great Plague of London in 1664 and 65 resulted in more than 70,000 deaths in a population estimated at 460,000. Uh-huh. And an outbreak in Canton in Hong Kong in 1894 that left 80,000 people to 100,000 dead. And that was within 20 years. The disease had spread from southern China, ports throughout the whole world, resulting in more than 10 million deaths, what it says. So and the plague came to America from Asia in 1899. And today, cases are still reported, an average of at least 15 people die each year that we know of. The disease itself originates from rodents, and it's usually transmitted, to people by fleas. Although animal bites can also, be the means of this transmission. And it's still, a really bad disease. So, I mean, as few as 10 bubonic plague cases, ourselves, they cause a person's death. At least 10 of them will cause somebody to die. And then here they are spreading this fear, saying that, that if it comes over here, the president knew about it 2 weeks ago, but he didn't shut the airline down, So what does that tell us? Is this an agenda? I pray it's not. Is it a way to get people fearful? I mean, I'm not fearful. And I don't want anybody else, that's in this walk with us to be fearful of it. Love you too, Chloe and Floyd. You guys are awesome.
I think it's mainly fear porn what we're seeing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because look at it, it's like everywhere you look, people are talking about it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's like they're trying to bring it into existence.
Right. Well, we've got human engineered plague, and that's exactly what I think this is. You were just saying, throughout its history, plague, that's been used as an offensive weapon against populations. We know that. The Mongols would catapult plague-infested corpses over the walls of besieged cities. Did you know that? I mean, thousands would die as disease spread through the walled-in population. And during World War II, Japan dropped plague-infested fleas on China. American research growing out of the war experience led to decades-long research projected at Fort Detrick, Maryland, proving the biological warfare was a feasible method of waging war. There you go. Well, in 1969, the U.S. President Richard Nixon ordered the research stopped. And in 1972, the United States signed a treaty with 70 other nations outlawing the production of stockpiling use of biological weapons as a means of war. So, we know nobody's abiding by this. We know this. Despite this treaty, it's known that for many nations, rich and poor alike, they have developed biological weapons. In the former Soviet Union, they conducted a sophisticated effort to manufacture biological weapons. And that was during the Cold War years. And for years, the scientists, they researched ways to genetically alter bubonic plague so as to make it resistant to many forms of modern treatment. So how do we know that this CAPS, people are labeling it as coronavirus, but Bill Gates had it labeled as CAPS. It's corona artery pulmonary syndrome. Yeah. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1992, the tracking and inventory of all this work, that's been a great concern. The United States and its allies, they fear that some of it could have fallen into hands of terrorist groups. But I call terrorist groups people like Bill Gates and the Rothschilds. Hello. Just saying. Just saying. Yeah. After the first Gulf War in 1991, weapons inspectors confirmed that Iraq had developed biological weapons and had even equipped some warheads with germs to use against Saddam Hussein's enemies. How about that? The location of these weapons since that time is part of an unsolved mystery, though, they say at that regiment. But could some of them be in the hands of Al Qaeda or some other radical Islamic group waiting to be used on the West? Who knows? But to me, it's from within. It's from within this country that we have to worry. All these sick people that are trying to push Agenda 21. And our nation's even prepared. What do you think?
I find it odd the nations are claiming to be prepared.
Right.
And the way they're keeping all this travel going.
Well, yeah, it takes years and years to develop a vaccine for illnesses. They don't just develop this crap overnight. So, this is that tells us, common sense tells us it's a planned agenda. I think I'm more fearful of the vaccine that they're trying to push on people than the illness itself. If you want to know the truth, that's what my gut's telling me.
For all we know, it's like the vaccine. It's like they could have already distributed it. They could have already put it into the food supply.
We don't know.
Think about it. They could have put it in every bit of food, like in Western countries and other countries. It's like where they're saying it's prepared, and people wouldn't even know it could be in every food item.
Well, that's why we have to rebuke it, and that's why we have to make sure to pray over our food before we eat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Margot. And our nation's really prepared for this stuff. Today, America and the West, they brace themselves, for further attack from terrorist groups, and that's for real. That's perhaps the most feared, is a biological attack, smallpox, and we've seen that pop up over here, and other widely communicable germs and diseases. Experts, they know that the West is woefully underprepared for such an attack. Do you know that in June 2001, the Center for Strategic and International Studies hosted a senior-level war game examining the security challenges of a biological attack on American homeland? And the premise was the appearance of a case of smallpox in Oklahoma City, and it rapidly spreading throughout the country. And among the lessons learned from the exercise, an attack on the United States with a biological weapon could threaten vital national security interests. How about that? Massive civilian casualties break down in essential, institutions, violation of democratic process, civil disorder, loss of confidence in government, and reduced U.S. strategic flexibility abroad are among the ways a biological attack might compromise the U.S. security. I mean, think about that. And you can check that out at www.homelandsecurity.org. They've got stuff on it over there. You know, other estimates say that within days, 1 million people would be dead, and 2 to 3 times that many infected. No one knows what lies out there waiting to be used by groups wishing other nations harm or their own people. You know, we only know that it could happen. You know, and I've always felt like China's just dirty. They don't value their people because they're so overpopulated. Seriously. I mean, beyond the human engineered biowarfare, you know, another type of pestilence is waiting as well. And this one, you know, it lurks quietly in the background and would erupt at any time, say scientists who study the subject. You know, I mean, 80 years ago, a sudden mutation in the virus that causes influenza, that initiated a worldwide epidemic. And that's only 18 months, it killed an estimated 25 to 40 million people around the world. And this is a fact. This isn't Fairport. So many consider this to be the worst natural disaster in history. You know, killer flu. How about that?
Yeah.
You know, so scientists that are studying the infectious diseases have sounded warnings that this could occur again. You know, so everybody just don't claim this stuff. Don't be fearful of it, but you need to know. You need to know the facts and the truth about this stuff. I mean, I've heard of at least seven to 9 places here in the United States that where people have tested for this. Now, I don't know if that's factual or if they're, you know, if they're just being tested, and I don't know if they tested positive for it, but I've heard of 9 different places here in the States. You know, and then yesterday, Therian, there were 1,000 American citizens that were over in China being prepared to be flown back home. You know, and what I'm wanting to know is they haven't come out and said anything thus far that I know of. Are these people going to be quarantined for 15 days? Because they say there's up to a 14-day wait on this. You know, it could take 14 days for you to show positive, to show that you have it.
Yeah.
So
there's like there should be like quarantines put in place if this is like a real thing. But the fact that there's not been so far is insanity.
Yeah. I mean, remember that outbreak of SARS? That was rapidly identified as a genetic makeup, fully decoded, you know, in a matter of weeks. And the scientists from around the world, they worked together. I don't know. They were using the latest technology and communication tools, and they made the breakthrough though with it. You know, it took several years to do the same with the human. What was it? The HIV. How many years did it take for them to have a small breakthrough with HIV? You know. And they still haven't cured it. They just, you know, they have a way to let people live with it if they haven't gone into full-blown AIDS, which they probably do have a cure. They're just letting that stuff linger too, you know, as a means of Agenda 21.
Well, it's obvious they've got a cure because they keep giving it to Clinton.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, let's talk about the seals in context, okay? When we look at the 4 seals of Revelation 6, we have to understand them in the context of God's, you know, age-long message to mankind. False religion, war, famine, disease, they're the results of man's broken relationship with God himself, okay? So when these horsemen make their rides, it will be after repeated warning and pleading from God himself to turn from sin and live righteously based on his eternal law of love towards God and man, okay? So when God first set ancient Israel in a land of promise, he gave them instruction on how to live and conduct their affairs in a way that would bring peace and harmony. You know, God wanted them to live with blessing and abundance, not suffering and misery, you know? And in his basic instruction, our Creator explained how to avoid the problems that will devastate the world with the opening of the seals. Now notice the pattern set in Leviticus 26. You shall not make idols for yourselves, neither a carved image nor a sacred pillar shall you rear for yourselves, nor shall you set up an engraved stone in your hand to bow down to it, nor I am, for I am the Lord your God. That's Leviticus 26:1. So here is the solution right here to false religion. Okay, it's represented by the first seal of its horsemen. Any form of worship other than given by God is a false idol, having no value or validity, lacking meaning of sense. Okay, so it's worse than nothing because it leads to willful ignorance and lack of understanding of the true God and his purpose for human life. False religion and deception, that breaks the bond between God and his creation. And it leads to false systems of religion. And when this bond is broken, human relationships suffer. And that's leading to conflict and war represented by the second of the seals. Now verse 6 says, I will give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and none will make you afraid. This peace, in contrast to the second horseman of war, that's a gift from God. And when man obeys him from the heart and puts his laws and ways first, so if you walk in, my statutes and keep my commandments and perform them, then I will give you rain in its season, and the land shall yield its produce, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. This Leviticus 26, 3 and 4, okay? And for obedience, God promises the opposite of the third horseman of famine, plenty of food from abundant harvest, you see? So, okay. I mean, I don't know how more clear and more plain to put that, I mean, the antidote to the fourth horseman of disease, right? When God brought the Israelites out of Egypt, he told them, if you diligently heed the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in his sight, give ear to his commandments and keep all his statutes, I will put none of the diseases on you which I have brought on the Egyptians. For I am the Lord who heals you. Exodus 15:26. However, if they disobeyed and broke the covenant, they would expect disease to afflict them, their families, and their nation. So notice, but I mean, have you heard anything about Israel having this disease yet? I haven't heard anything about Jerusalem or Israel being afflicted by this coronavirus. Not yet.
I know, that's odd.
Mm-hmm. Or the Middle East. I haven't heard anything about the Middle East.
Yeah, you would think places like the Middle East, they'd probably be the worst for it.
Right. But no.
You'd be thinking it's like if China's suffering from it, it's like the Middle East would as well.
Yeah. Well, China's the one that they're portraying as being so overpopulated, that's what's on the world scene here, There's been a mass exodus from the Middle East. So that's what they're trying to instill in the world here, see? But notice, but if you will not obey the voice of the Lord your God, the Lord will make the pestilence cling to you until he has consumed you from the land into which you go to possess. So there you go. The Lord will smite you with consumption, with fever and inflammation, and the tumors, the scurvy, and the itch, from which you cannot be healed. And the Lord will smite you with madness and blindness and dismay, of mind and heart. And that's Deuteronomy 28:15 and 28:21 and 22, and 28:27 and 28 in the Amplified Bible. But bound within the promises of blessings and curses in the larger context, the four seals of Revelation 6, the human race is bound to its creator in a relationship that will reach a conclusion, and God will accomplish his purpose of bringing many sons to glory. And that's Hebrews 2:10. Mankind eventually will come face to face with God and admit that he is the one and only true God. Every knee shall bow, right? I mean, the book of Revelations shows God's merciful intervention in human affairs to both correct and save man from destruction. And God will bring justice to the earth. But first, there will be a time of unparalleled tribulation. See? Now, with the fifth horseman, barely a year ago, the world experienced something resembling panic, with a sudden appearance of what was it called? What was it?
So I think
I just got there saying what it is. Where you bleed out of all your orifices.
Ebola.
There we go. Yeah. Wasn't it just last year, year before last? It wasn't too long ago. I remember.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, to me, that's a warning to us. It's a complete warning. Now the spread of it, I think that was a little different. And I also feel, just in my own opinion, because I'm not anybody, I'm just a person like the rest of you. I really feel like that was all manufactured as well. That was kind of like a test run that they did, just to see how humanity would react.
Yeah, it's probably because they've been the way it's like it was released.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because it's like they'd failed to mix it with the common cold again.
Yeah. Well, I think
So they tried doing it that way.
Yeah, I think Ebola was a biological weapon released on people. I don't believe that was a virus or a contagion. Seriously.
Yeah, that thing it did look man-made with that, the way it made that worm thing appear in the eye.
Right. Exactly.
That was like a biological trademark.
Anyway, yeah, I think it's definitely a weapon.
Like a signature.
Yeah, you're right.
The way that appeared on the eye, that was like someone's signature. That.
Yeah. Well, the Bible talks
about signed the work.
If you don't get your life right, you go to hell and you lay there where the worm dieth not. So there's your worm. Just saying. I remember that scripture. Well, the world media machine, they contribute to both the awareness of the diseases and the fear, that in the end, it proves to be, out of proportion, right? And it's way out of proportion to the true danger posed by the viruses that go around. However, the economic impact due to the disease, and also the decreased tourists, business travel, significant effects, that really affects many areas. And that's what I'm thinking, if they're able to do a how they what's it called whenever they lock down the country, martial law, right? Well, if they're able to do a medical martial law due to a quarantine martial law, and they're able to do that and lock down several countries, they can easily crash our economies, and boom, that takes us right into the new world orders plans.
Well, if you think about it, it's like everything seems to go in cycles.
Mm-hmm.
Of 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like we're back in the 20s now. Think of what happened in the 1920s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like at least we've got the next stock market crash to look forward to when the bankers actually do what they did last time, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because that of 29, that's when all those bankers were jumping out of the buildings.
Yeah, I remember that. Absolutely. I believe it's all planned, Margot. I absolutely do. This could be another test run just to see if they can get away with it. I don't know. But I know for how many years now they've been trying to crash our economy, and we just prove them wrong every time and bounce right back, Seriously. They've tried to crash us over and over, and we proved to be pretty resilient as a people and as a group,
If you look at it, it's like most of the finance, it's all fake.
Right? It's all paper.
Yeah, it used to actually mean something, but now it doesn't.
And you hear what Wayne's saying right here. You hear what Wayne's saying, and this is absolute truth and fact, guys. Stop asking for it and repent. Reverse the spells. He says, please. So we're not going to claim this stuff. We're not going to ask for it. We're going to rebuke it. And we're going to repent and kick this crap out of our lives and out of our homes and out of our towns, in our states, in our country, period. I mean, you have to, like I was saying earlier, you have to maintain a positive mindset with this stuff. You have to, you know, which it's easy for me because I live in a little bubble here, But like I was saying to my husband, it wouldn't do me any good to sit here and be a keyboard warrior in my bubble when he's going out into the public, So we've got to, as a family, everybody has to get together, and pray and rebuke it and repent. That's how I see that. I mean, where's your stance on that, Darian?
It's like you got to do what you can when you can.
Right.
And it's like, I think, pick your battles wisely. Use discernment.
Right. Well, this goes right back to which brings us to the only hope the world has to survive a devastating stampede. People commonly refer to these four seals as the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and that's because the last word here is often synonymous with global destruction. And there's typically no hope in this reference. But apocalypse is simply the Greek name for the book of Revelation, meaning revealing or unveiling. And this book reveals more than gloom and doom. The light at the end of the age. We've got to remember that. I mean, indeed, John saw more than four horsemen in his vision. He saw five. Revelation 19:11 through 16 shows us the ride of the fifth horseman. And it's the appearance of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
He appears on a white horse from heaven. So I mean, he's intervening in the world affairs, and it's the most critical point. And in the final thought about all this, we have to remember we focus on the horseman of hope, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, whose appearance will bring an everlasting kingdom of truth, peace, plenty, and ultimate well-being. Okay. We have to remember the end of this. We have to remember the end of it, the final thing. Focus on the horseman of hope, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, whose appearance will bring everlasting kingdom of truth, peace, plenty, and ultimate well-being. Okay? I mean, that's the message I wanted to convey right there. Even though we have all this gloom and doom, we know ultimately the end of the line is our Savior, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. So no matter what,
it's like,
go ahead.
As long as we have faith in God,
right,
and trust in God,
right,
it's like He's going to keep us protected.
There you go.
All we've got to do is let Him guide our hand.
That's right. Right.
And we'll be safe.
There you go. I mean, ultimately, everything in its time and in its season, and our destiny is our destiny. Whatever happens, happens. But don't ever make it a walk in fear, right?
Yeah.
Don't ever walk in fear, And I mean, when you guys are feeling fearful or feeling insecure about things, there's a whole community here. We're here. We're always here. We're all here. Just reach out. All you have to do. Don't be shy. I mean, we're all people. We're all loving people. I mean, what we do here on YouTube, we're not doing this for self gratification or self glory. We're doing this to glorify our Creator and thank to show that we're how grateful we are that Jesus Christ came and did everything He did for us. We're always here for everybody. If anybody needs somebody to talk to, or whatever, we're here. I mean, I can say that for myself. I'm pretty sure for Darian, for Tina, for Floyd, we're all here, and Wayne as well. I'm sure. I mean, we're all here. We're all here. So I mean, if anybody starts feeling insecure or lonely or lowly or in need of just somebody to speak to, a loving, kind word, we're here. I just want you guys to know that. But anyway, that's really the end of the message. What I was trying to convey last night before the power went out. You know, it was funny that Wayne had mentioned last night that anytime he's around, there tend to be the technical difficulties. And right after he spoke that word, you know, it started raining like crazy here. Lightning, raining. You know, my internet went down, then my lights went off, and I started praying. It was only about 25, 30 minutes. I didn't have power. I don't even know if Chloe, did you ever get hit by that storm? Did it ever go your way? I know Chloe was saying, well, I better hurry up and get home because I wasn't sure.
Interesting you mentioning this now.
What's that?
Well, it's like when I was on Peanut Stream last night.
Uh-huh.
It's like there's like a power surge or something because like lights were flickering and modem had gone down.
Uh-huh.
So I'd lost connection to internet and everything.
Well, Tina said she thought you fell asleep.
It was weird. It's like StreamYards had kept me in, even though it's like had gone down, and it wouldn't let me back in.
Yeah, that's weird. That is weird.
It showed me it's been in there, so I thought, yeah, it's probably like, you know, because StreamYards does like a delay with YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, yeah, it's like probably doing that, but it'd probably like catch up.
Yeah, it never did, huh?
No.
Well, were you able to go and chat or no?
No.
Wow.
At the time, it's like I was only able to get on my Xbox.
Uh-huh.
And I couldn't leave a comment or anything. I could see the stream still going, and I could still see me in the stream.
Yeah. How intense was it for you over there, Chloe? Did it get bad or did it just blow through? Because for here it was, we had high winds. It was really, really high winds. The rain wasn't real hard, but yeah. And my lights usually don't cut off. So I don't know what happened there, but it was just briefly. Thank goodness. You know. But anyway, I was out there rebuking that stuff too. Yeah. Wayne says, don't let them take your literal crown, son, soul, you know. There you go. Thanks, Wayne, for your input. We really appreciate all the knowledge you share with us. It's really awesome. You know, like Tina says, sometimes it might go over our heads a little bit, but then he always rounds it down to where it clicks, you know. And that's pretty awesome. But anyway, that's really about all I wanted to talk about, you know. And like I had heard before, I don't know if you guys, where you're located at, if y'all have had roundabouts installed, you know, like Therian was stating, these turnabouts, they are a UK thing, not an American thing, you know. And I've heard that they're being installed in neighborhoods and places near you, you know, near the shopping malls and stuff. And for about the past 2 years, they've been doing this. And somebody had made mention with some documents they had pulled up that this is for checkpoints in the future, you know. They plan on, you know, coming down on us or whatever they're going to do. I'm not fearful of that either, you know, regardless, you know, and I've kind of, I don't know, I've kind of come to the realization that, like me, I'm on Social Security. I'm disabled, you know, and we'll be the ones getting hit first, you know. If we don't want to take the world system, the mark for the world system, then we won't be able to receive our benefits. So, you know, that's something that everybody needs to prepare for as well. If you're receiving government benefits in any way, shape, or form, you better figure out how to do some kind of a backup, you know, if we're even left here when all this stuff happens, you know. Yeah, and that's right, Truth Bomb. That's so right. That's so correct. Yep. All we can do is stand on our Father's word. Stand on the, you know, stand on the book. Stand on what we know is right and true. There's no room for negativity. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like you were saying about the fear porn, I mean, I do hear every year at the new year, they tend to roll out the guise of fear porn. You know, and they say this is the year 2020 for perfect vision, you know, perfect insight. But they're looking at this with a negative aspect as well. Everything that we see, they're turning it upside down. We have to remember that.
Yeah, they would. Well, they're going to do that. It's like what they do.
Exactly.
It's they always have to do the opposite.
What
Above as below.
Yep. As above, so below, right?
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I was stating something last night, and I just completely left my mind what I was fixing to say. I'm at a loss for words. Can you believe that? For once, I'm at a loss for words. How funny is that? Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's a Christmas miracle.
It is, right? It's a New Year's miracle. It's almost a Valentine's Day miracle. I was listening to Jonathan Kleck yesterday, and he made a lot of sense when he was talking about how 6 and 9, the number 6 is the number of man, because 6 is flesh. 666 is literally our carbon life form. We're carbon life forms, and that's what 66 is, the flesh. And he was saying that until the 9th, we're redeemed, right? So the 9 means redemption, like we're redeemed. The 6 is, we have to come into this flesh. We were never intended to be in the flesh body, period. But because we came into the flesh body, we have to be redeemed. So that's literally what the 6 and the 9 stand for. I thought that was pretty neat, the way he described it. Because of Jesus, because of the death of Jesus, we are redeemed. See, I thought that was cool. Yep. But I've never heard of mankind being referred to as the Elohim, right? I mean, God is El, but the way he broke it down, this is the very last video that he released yesterday. The way he broke it down, going into the eastward, and the words, the dictionary, saying the meaning of the words. The way he did it, we are the Elohim, and I didn't think we were the Elohim. I never thought we were the B'nai Ha Elohim or the Elohim. I thought that was kind of interesting. So if anybody's interested in that, if I've confused you any, go over there to Jonathan Kleck's last video and check it out, because he gets kind of deep sometimes with his stuff. Yep. But anyway, we've been going for an hour. Do you have anything else you want to say? Because I'm good.
No, I'm okay. It's like we've covered literally everything I thought of.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, I mean, it's everything that I wanted to cover last night whenever Tina and Wayne were on.
There's one thing I'd like to throw in, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like thinking, like with the Black Death and everything, when we're talking about that and the coronavirus.
Yes.
If you think about it, look at the time of the Black Death originally. It's also when they removed suicide from the Bible.
Absolutely, they did. They did remove it. Things are miserable. You're right. You're right. They removed suicide from the Bible, and they also removed reincarnation, guys. So when you hear people speak on reincarnation and suicide, we're already indoctrinated, and we see things a certain way, but we don't realize that used to be biblical truth, biblical fact. I mean, you don't go to hell for suicide. Please, I'm not asking anybody to take their life, please. I'm just saying that was not in the Bible before. The way I see that, some souls come to this place and they're new souls, and they just can't handle or tolerate. They just can't function in all this pain and misery, so they just have to leave this place. They just can't take it. They're not strong enough to take it. And that's their own choice. But they're not left running around in limbo or things like that. That's all make-believe. Just like how purgatory is make-believe by the Vatican, Just saying. Do your homework and you'll see this information is so correct.
Yeah, and it's like if you look at what the Vatican added to the Bible,
yeah,
you can see where it's like they ripped off other cultures.
Yeah.
It's like the story of Samson and Delilah. That's a rip-off of Hercules.
Yeah, well, Delilah is not a Middle Eastern name, okay?
I know. I was just about to get to that.
Sorry, Therian. Go ahead. Shut up. Go
Just
ahead.
think about it. Delilah.
Yeah.
That's more like a Greek name.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Therian and I study together a lot, so we're on the same page with a lot of things. I didn't mean to hop in there and steal your glory, dude.
What's that? And if you look at like the time period of like Samson, and you look at the time period of Hercules, you look at all the stories, you realise, hey, it's the same story,
Yeah. Different
but
names.
there they've changed his name.
Well, we know that the fallen angels have a habit of changing their name with each continent that they infect.
Yeah,
know?
and it's like if you look at like the legends of Hercules, he traveled a load of places.
Mhm.
He didn't just like stick around Greece. He went all over the place.
Well, don't they say that Ishtar is Diana, is Lilith, you know? And I'm sure there's some other names for Ishtar, but there's Ishtar, Diana, and Lilith, and they're all supposed to be the same being. Yep. Absolutely. You know, I had just seen something, I think it was R. Wayne Stigler, his channel. I'm pretty sure it was. He was speaking about a document, a Sumerian document, that stated that Lilith, which we don't know if it's the same Lilith, but Lilith was an Anunnaki, a maiden, but she was Anunnaki.
Yeah. Plus, another thing that I was like going to point on, you know, like the Greek side of things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you even mentioned it before when you were talking about like Revelation and the Horseman.
Yes.
Yeah, it mentions Hades.
Absolutely. There you go. That's Greek.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, Greek mythology right there.
Yep. It's all, they've got it all intertwined, you know?
Yeah, when it comes to the Bibles, the different versions,
Mm-hmm.
the Apocrypha,
Yep.
you've got to use a lot of discernment because it's like it has been altered over time by man.
Yes.
Even though it says in the end of it in Revelation that this book should never be altered.
And you have to be careful about the rabbit holes you go down, because sometimes you're going to derive information that you never wanted to know. I mean,
Yeah.
the further you go back, you know, the more upsetting it can be for people. So, I mean, if you're just a devout Christ believer, I wouldn't be digging too far back, because you're going to find some little ugly truths that you're not going to like, period.
Yeah, you got to think of it, the Bible, that's just like a greeting card to get to know God and Christ.
There you go. I mean, because, I mean, if you go back far enough on the Sumerian tablets and the Sumerian history, our Bible is only a teeny tiny portion of the Sumerian history, and it's almost word for word, guys. Just saying. You know, and so if you're going to go back like that, then you go back to the Anunnaki, and boom, there's another one another bomb blowing up in your face. You know? But we have to remember, okay, the first Adam was a flesh man, a flesh creation. The second Adam was spirit, was soul. And that's what we are. We are the second Adam, okay? So just know that. That's your positive outcome right there, okay? The first Adam was flesh. The second Adam was spirit, and we are the second Adam. So we know we are connected to the divine creator, period.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, that's something that a lot of people don't know, but if you do your research, you'll see that's exactly what it says. So there's always a spin. There's always positivity, you know.
Yeah, and with the Bible, there is like a load of evidence that backs it up what a load of people overlook.
Yes, sir. And
it's like
go ahead.
The book of Daniel, where it's like he destroys the temple of Baal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the remains of that temple existed until ISIS blew it up. And I think it's like, why would they blow up like a monument like that when it's just like a pile of rubble anyway?
Right. Well, they're hiding.
It's just like a bit of a wall and a bit of an arch, bit of a building. There's no like statues that have any importance.
Mm-hmm. They're blowing
it's
up.
Like, why would they want that gone?
Yeah.
Think about it. It's because it shows the truth.
Yep.
And it goes against their narrative.
Yeah, they're blowing up historical facts, but they're hiding historical facts. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And every time the United States goes marching into another country, invading them or whatever, supposedly helping, that's exactly what's going on. Historical knowledge is being stolen from them. It's being taken. That's exactly what's going down, guys. When they took down Saddam Hussein, you can't tell me that wasn't because they went in there and stole the historical, information.
So I remember that when they blew up Palmyra, it made me look more at the Book of Daniel, and that's when I noticed it's the end had disappeared.
Yep.
And that quantum change had taken effect.
Yep. Keep going.
And it's I went looking for it to see if it had appeared anywhere else, or if it had changed any other Bibles, and I went through loads of Bibles. Then I found out it moved to the Apocrypha, literally overnight.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go refill my coffee, Therian. If you have anything else to say, keep going. Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah. And then it's they build a replica of the Arch of Baal, and they try taking it around all the capital financial cities of the planet, have it in every place key to financial trading. And it's they tried in America first, but it's people were rejecting it because of the name, the Arch of Baal. So they changed it to the Palmyra Arch, and it's everyone just looked at it completely different, even though it was the same thing. And that leads into the symbolism used. And it's you've always got to keep an eye on the symbolism, because they put it in plain sight. It's how they send messages.
Okay, I'm back.
Cool. I was just talking about the symbolism. It's with the Arch of Baal. I did tried getting it into America, and it's people had rejected it.
Right. I think now. Go ahead.
They said it's the Palmyra Arch, and then they got it in that way.
They have an Arch of Baal they're displaying over in Rome right now too, and a Baphomet. Did you know that?
Yeah, that's the same one. It's been moved around.
Okay. Well, I can't believe they're they've got big nads, doing that right in people's faces, Wow.
Yeah, and it's that's not the only symbolism they've been using recently.
Right. Floyd, I don't think 6 is an evil number. I think 6, actually, what I just stated, 6 is the number for man. Yeah, man is sinful in our flesh, but I don't think it's evil, What do you think about that, Therian?
Yeah, if the number 6 is evil, it's I should really stop buying those small boxes of eggs.
Yeah, right.
Again, I think waste is evil when it comes to food and stuff. But so I know it's if I buy one of those bigger boxes, half of them will go to waste.
Right. Therian, Sunday I actually was able to eat scrambled eggs and keep them down, and I thought, yay! But I was sick all Sunday evening, and I was sick all day Monday.
Yeah.
I think my body is looking at it like it's repugnant for a reason. Just saying. Something's just not right with the eggs right now for me anyway. And I've always been an egg eater. I mean, I could still eat eggs in the cornbread or in the cake or, whatever you have to put them in. But when I just eat plain fried eggs or scrambled eggs, they make me sick.
I normally make omelets. It's easier.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know why they're so gross to me now because I'm a country girl. I was raised on fresh eggs. I have fresh eggs, you know. I was trying to listen. I heard something on Coast to Coast where they were talking about the book of Daniel, and it was really interesting. I wanted to bring it up, but I can't find it. Yeah, can't find it right now. I think Chloe has an issue with Chloe. Was it Jeffrey Daugherty that you had an issue with that you said he was being blasphemous? I wanted to ask you right quick. Wait for Chloe to reply. I think she was saying that. I mean, I thought I had remembered Wayne and Jeffrey being together on those streams, and Jeffrey also being with Heidi, who reads people's cards. You know, she does the Indian whatever the Indian cards are. I've seen her on Rex's channel, Leap Project. Yeah.
I tend to avoid that type of thing because it's too close to tarot cards and
Well, yeah,
divination.
I've never had my tarot cards read or anything like that. Never, never, ever. But I just happened to come across that stuff, you know, whenever I used to listen to Leap Project, which I don't really listen to him anymore. I've kind of moved on from there, you know. Ever since he moved from San Antonio, Texas, over to Colorado, I don't know. He's kind of changed up his groove. You know what I mean? Just people. We just grow. We all grow. We grow apart. A lot of times, people have a certain message or an agenda, and they kind of get on past that, and the rest of us are still on that. Chloe, what's pissable? I know she meant to put possible, but look. Yeah, they used to have, or they still do, normal Sunday show. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I just remember seeing Heidi. She would read people's cards, but it was not like regular tarot cards. It was the Indian, the ones that they used to do with Sanskrit. Well, I've heard, Darian, that originally the freaking tarot cards were made for like the Hebrews to be able to depict the seasons and when to plant and stuff. Did you know that?
I've heard other stuff. It's like, because there's different versions of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they've got like Middle Eastern ones, so it's like it was like a gift from the jinn
Mm-hmm.
as a way to contact them.
I've heard that too. I've heard that too. Well, the rider tarot cards. That's my family. They're the ones that invented those. Just so you know, my mama. But my mom always told me you can go either way, honey, and so make sure you stay on the religious side. Don't fall to that witchy side. On your dad's side of the family. And my mom made sure to instill that in me really deep. Whatever's natural, it's natural. But I've never practiced anything or conjured anything like that because I love the Lord and I've always feared the Lord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter how much research I do or how many rabbit holes I go down with the knowledge I acquire. It's never been anything so devastating that it would make me turn away from the Lord and the love I share for Him. Right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you, Elizabeth. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if the Lord intended on us to consult with spirits, then we would have been given the okay. But we know that spirits are liars. To me, those spirits are the disembodied spirits of the giants or the Nephilim, which are the Rephaim, the dead ones, the demons. And that's who you're consorting with. You're not consorting with your dead aunt or uncle. It's not your family. It's not your loved ones. And something else that I've been speaking with you guys in private, but maybe I didn't make it public. If anybody is sleeping And in your sleep, if you've got relatives who passed away in your dreams, coming to you and talking to you, you need to try to tell yourself before you lay down at night that you're not going to speak to them, because those are not your dead relatives. Those are demons. And when you're speaking with demons in your sleep, they are opening doorways to enter into your waking life and just infect habit. It's crazy. I've gone through it. My husband's gone through it, and they will make your life crazy. Welcome to the crazy train. I'm so serious. So, I mean, if you've got dead ones, dead relatives talking to you in your dreams, you're going to have to start praying and rebuking that stuff, because that is a doorway or a gateway, a path for demons to come in and mess up your waking life. Sorry about that. These are updates. Yeah. And like I was saying last night, these evil factions, all the stuff that they do to us, they have to abide by the same rules and guidelines, same principalities as good does in the Bible. They have to abide by the same rules. So, I mean, it's not too hard or too difficult to rebuke these things and pick them out of your life and send them right back to whoever sent them to you. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Just saying. Okay. So I mean, I could keep babbling on forever. So I mean, if you're good, Darian, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. We are going to bounce. Thanks for sticking with us. And hopefully it was food for thought. Hopefully you guys derive something out of this hour and 16 minutes. Hope it wasn't a waste of anybody's time. And many blessings y'all's way. And y'all just stay safe and stay positive. Don't let this negativity affect you. Don't let it affect you. Okay. I mean, if you start to feel negativity or fear, repent of that. Just pray. Just talk to Jesus. Talk to God just like you would to your mother, your father, your husband, your boyfriend. It's that simple. That's how you develop a personal relationship with him. You just start having conversations with him, because he hears you. He knows all your thoughts. Okay. All right. God bless you guys. And until the next one, God willing, okay? Peace out.
Hi, everyone. Good night, good morning, and good evening, wherever you are.
Bye. Okay.